Hello, hello, hello. And today is Monday. And you know what Monday means? Making each other better with Walt and Sheekia. We are here live with you. So gracious to be a part of this space with you. And of course, we have another Monday.
We're here.
And another conversation. And we are grateful for those who will tune in and those who are tuning in right now.
Yeah. Thank you guys for just popping in. And again, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and just go ahead and subscribe, like. We're just trying to be as much of an impact as we can to all of you all. So, all right. Thank you guys for coming. So let's get into it.
Well, you know what? We've had some awesome conversations over almost the past year. We've come on Mondays at some point to share with you a lot of things that have been on our heart, and even in some of our weekly and daily conversations.
Yeah.
And so, again, today or tonight, we definitely want to empower you. We want to challenge you. We want to equip you for life. And, you know, we can't do it by ourselves. And that is why it is making each other better, because we have the power to do just that.
Yeah, making each other better. That's what it's all about. So basically, our talk tonight is founded on consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a huge one.
How important consistency is to you?
It's extremely important.
Why do you think so?
Well, for me, I just think, you know, when you're talking about consistency with an individual, but you can actually apply this to even entities, companies, corporations, people, whatever. When you think about consistency with an individual, it builds a sense of trust. It builds a sense of trust with me because, you know, we want to be able to know who we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
We want to know what to expect each and every day. You know, I've met people throughout my life, and I'm sure you have too. And sometimes we can be that person as well that's inconsistent. But when you are dealing with inconsistent people all throughout your life, one of the things that happens is that you don't know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump's. It's like a box of chocolates. One day you're going to get this, the next day you're going to get that. And so we want to make sure that, you know, it's all about consistency, really.
You know what? When I was growing up, my family used to call them wishy-washy people.
Wishy-washy.
I don't have time to be dealing with no wishy-washy people. If you were called that meant that you were not consistent. You know, that particular person, with the women in our family on my mom's side, right?
Yeah.
That would mean 1 minute you're going to be on time, and then I'm going to be dressed and ready, and you're going to be 5 hours late.
Right.
So it wasn't consistent, and so therefore half of the family did not get dressed until the person actually got to the house.
Oh man, I can see. Yeah, because you're just gonna wait because you don't know. Maybe one day this person's gonna be on time, the next day they're not. So it just creates so much havoc, and just it bothers so many people who are used to being on point. Yeah.
You know, and those who are watching right now, how do you feel about consistency? What is a person's consistency? Is it important to you, and why? Like, talk to us through the chat a little bit. We would like to know that. One of the things that I thrive on is being who you are. Yeah. And when you are who you are, you are going to be consistent in that. You know, and just like you stated, many things are impacted with our consistency. But when I started writing the Protect Your Pearls dating guide, that's one of the things that I believe every woman should look out for. When you are protecting your pearls, you want to deal with someone that is consistently helping you protect your pearls. Consistently making sure that they are, and you're going to drop the ball, but don't consistently drop the ball.
There you go. Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't consistently lie. All of us are going to drop the ball, character balls, okay?
Right.
We're going to drop character balls. But you played for 13 years. You may have dropped a couple of balls, but drop every ball every game. I guarantee you would not have made it 13 years in the NFL.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So when you think about it, coaches put people on the field that they can trust. There it is right there. Coaches put people on the field that they know that they can trust. They know what to expect from them at the end of the day. And so this consistency component is it should be huge in all of our lives, really. And we need to pay more of attention to that. You know, first of all, with ourselves, because we always want to check. You know, we can't demand something from others that we're not even doing ourselves.
Absolutely.
First and foremost. But when we are, we definitely need to make sure that those people in our lives are being consistent. When you even think about a company, organization, if they're always up, they're down here and there, you know, you just don't know what you're going to get. And you go into the work office and, you know, it gives you such an unease of a feeling.
You know, it is so true. And so many of the people that I've spoken to, especially those who are in the dating world, and they get their hopes up high because that person starts off strong. That person starts off texting and calling and maybe even sending some flowers here, some candy there, right? And then it just fall off. And then you think it's you, but it really is sometimes them. They did not achieve a goal, a relational goal. They did not get something that they wanted.
Right.
And so the real them eventually comes out. And this is why we have to pay attention to inconsistent people or people who are consistent in planting poor character seeds. Pay attention to their consistency in the way they talk, in the way they treat you, because that is the person that you're dealing with.
Yeah. And so let's go back to when you think about consistency, let's go back to one of the attributes of God. He is consistent.
Absolutely.
Consistent. And to me, that's why it's important that we create the right foundation and we build our right foundation on him himself. Because when you look at him, he is the ultimate consistent individual being out there.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things that his word says is that I am the same today, yesterday, and forever.
Absolutely.
Think about that. Think about your husband, your spouse, whatever organization, but mostly we're talking about relationships. You know, your significant other telling you, I'm not going to change. I'm going to be the same today, yesterday, and forever. But obviously, we know that we're infallible people. You know, we make mistakes. So, you know, obviously there needs to be a moment to where we're gradually getting better. But when you talk about, you know, good qualities, when you talk about being consistent in a good way, we want people like that. We want to be around individuals like that you can depend on. They're not going to change.
Absolutely. You know, consistency, you said it builds trust.
Yeah.
I am able to trust you when you are consistent. When you say I'm going to pick you up between 5 and 6 o'clock, I know by 6:45, I better definitely not be talking about, can you give me 5 more minutes? Because I know you're waiting. I know you sacrifice time, and I know that you are a keeper of your word. And so again, there are so many people we have not recognized the inconsistencies of people because we are hoping that they change. We are hoping that they do something different. But sometimes there are the red flags are like waving in our face like this, consistently waving, consistently saying, I'm going to abuse you, consistently saying, I'm going to cheat on you, and you don't want to believe the patterns.
Right.
You don't want to believe that they turn their phone off at 9 p.m. every night because they're with somebody else.
Right.
But they call you first thing in the morning.
Right. So what is that though? Why is that? You know, why do we not recognize the red flags that's right there in our face? Because as you're saying that, it's obvious. You know, so why is that? What is one of the reasons that you can think of?
You know what? Some of the reasons is I think people want it so bad. They make up excuses. A lot of times we want that person to be the one so bad that we excuse consistent poor behavior. And we give them the excuse of, oh, the way they grew up. Oh, they're going through this. No, the inconsistencies of not treating me the right way is really all I need to know what pocket to put you in.
Yeah.
And so many people, that's what they do. But why do you think people...
No, that was one of the reasons, really, because when you think about it, people want things so bad that they're not willing to focus on the problem at hand, the issue at hand. And really, it goes back to me as far as that individual being whole within themselves. Because when you're at a balanced place in your life, you're not needing anything. You're not, you're okay with yourself. You're more open to paying attention to all of the red flags.
That is the truth.
So what's happening is that you get blinded because you're needy. You're needing something. You're wanting to demand something from somebody else so bad that you're not paying attention to their flaws, what they're doing good or what they're doing bad.
So do you know what? That's why I believe the enemy sends inconsistent people to broken individuals.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wants you destroyed. He doesn't just want you broken,
Yeah.
because something broken can be put back together
Yeah.
again. He wants you destroyed. And what a way to destroy someone, having them up here, then bring them down here. Then having them back up here, then bring them down here. I've met many people who was, hey, he introduced me to the family, so we got to be, the deal has to be sealed.
Right.
You've introduced a person to your family and then you don't call them for the next 5 days. So you're like up and down. And then that is when you have to use your power of discernment to discern, oh no, I can't trust you.
Yeah. And it takes time to build that trust. It's pretty much what you kind of, mentioning. Trust is something that's not overnight.
Absolutely.
It is not something overnight. It is something that you have to build within a period of time. When the guys were saying they call it giving the benefit of the doubt when they really shouldn't. So,
and that's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you give someone the benefit of the doubt that has showed you a pattern, a character pattern that is consistent with who they are?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, that's just the way it is. So what else? What else do you feel?
Well, when you think about God again, consistency, he's trustworthy, but he's also reliable. And it almost feels the same with that word, trust, reliability, but it's a little different.
What's the difference?
It means that you're pretty much consistently good in a quality. So to speak, or how they perform. It almost kind of sounds the same, but it's a reliable source. Sometimes when you're talking about information that they're giving you, the words that they're saying, the things that they're doing. But again, it goes back to being reliable.
Oh, wow. Let me tell you something. There is nothing more frustrating than someone who is not reliable, because that is when letdowns manifest.
Yeah.
That is when the spirit of rejection, takes over an individual, because I'm relying on you to be faithful. I'm relying on you to operate with integrity. And we all know that integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching.
Oh, yeah.
And so I believe you can go out of town and I don't have to call you every 5 minutes. I don't have to have cameras watching you, right? And you don't have to check in with me unless you are checking up on me, because I feel that you are reliable. But imagine dealing with someone who is not reliable. You catch them lying in different situations. You catch them looking at inappropriate things. That makes that person, you cannot give that person your heart, because eventually that person is going to break your heart. That person is not reliable enough to be in your life.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Trustworthiness, reliability. When that individual is not reliable, because here's what's happening. You're building trust up. You're building up these walls are going down, actually. And so that trust is being built, their reliability is being built, and all of a sudden now they're not reliable and they're not trustworthy. Now here comes these walls being built up back over again.
Absolutely. And those walls doesn't just they don't just affect that individual, but when you start building walls because of a lack of trust, a lack of reliability, guess what? Other relationships are affected. So a lot of people have been hurt by inconsistent people, and they have taken that distrust out on family members. They have been in fear. They won't step out and do the big thing because they have been let down. And this is why it's important to get inconsistent people out of certain spaces in your life, because the inconsistencies and the letdowns will cause you to ruin a blessing.
Yeah, those are those close circles. You know, we talk about that outer circle, then that as close that you get within that circle, the smaller it gets. Certain people do not belong in that circle, and so you definitely do not want those individuals that are inconsistent in that particular circle. Doesn't mean that you don't love them. Doesn't mean that, you know, they don't belong at some level in your life. But you know how much of an impact that will have on your life of being inconsistent, because you can't really function like you want to or need to when you have those type of inconsistencies in your life.
Yeah, because when you think about me being able to rely on you, all right, I can depend on the fact that if I'm going through something and I call you, you're not going to say, hey, let me hit your back.
Right.
There are certain people I know I can call and sniff.
Right.
And they're like, hold on, let me step away for a minute. I'm in a meeting. Hold, I gotta take this call. Right. You know you can rely on these individuals because they're consistent with you. You know, they have shown those character patterns that you can stand on. There are people that I don't have to talk to, and I'm saying for years.
Wow.
But if I call, if I text, if I send a DM and they know that I need them, they are reliable. What you need? Who do I need to call?
Right.
And you cannot build a productive relationship with anyone that you cannot rely on.
No, you can't.
You cannot rely on them telling the truth. Rely on them being loyal. Rely on them treating you well. Rely on them doing the right thing even when you are not watching. If that person is not a reliable person, do not give your heart to them.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Do not give your heart to a person that is not reliable, because it is a guarantee that sooner or later they will disappoint you.
Man, and when you think about somebody really that's inconsistent, that's not reliable, and you then give them your heart, still that tells me that there's something wrong internally. Because you have to have these detectors that, hey, wait a minute, my heart is important.
Absolutely.
This is a treasure right here.
Absolutely.
And so from that standpoint, there's no way in the world I'm going to give to you something right here that's important to me. After you have shown me these red flags, you have shown me that you are not going to be consistent. So when individuals do that, when we do that, that means something is missing, something is lacking internally, something you're making bad judgments on certain things. And so it needs to be evaluated.
So then do you think that person, instead of putting that individual who let them down out there, they need to do a self-check, because that person has shown us red flags that we did not believe. The red flags in our eyes were purple, right? And instead of looking at consistently those red flags, because we weren't whole, we accepted brokenness. We accepted broken promises, half-truths. We accepted all this. So this is a time that we have to self-evaluate. This is a time we have to say, am I that broken that I'm willing to take this? Is my self-esteem that low that I'm willing to allow this person to call me 2 o'clock in the morning, but we have not seen each other in 2 weeks? Am I that broken to accept this type of treatment?
Yes, that's an evaluation. You have to, we have to look at ourselves with that. And I know many times when we've been in those broken places, we have done things that we should not have. And there are going to be repercussions at some level no matter what. And so, again, it goes back to evaluating yourself, really.
Evaluating yourself. And the last thing that I would like to say about, the importance of reliability is your spirit depends on it. Your soul even depends on who you connect to. Are you spiritually reliable? Can I rely on you to say no to me, even when I want to do something that is out of the will of God? Can I rely on you to check me? Can I rely on you to correct me? It's not always can I rely on you to pick me up, or can I rely on you to buy me something or call me, but can I rely on you to protect my spirit? Wow. Can I rely on you to say, wow, you have a call on your life. I'm not gonna interfere with that call on your life. I know for you and I sense the call on your life. And so before I even wanted to date you, I felt like it was ministry. Yeah. I felt like, that's what it was. There's some things that probably need to be cleaned up, and there are some places I know that God is trying to heal you. So instead of me trying to get wined and dined and have you, as my boo thing or whatever, I did not mind helping with your spirit as you help with mine.
Right. And here's the thing with that. See, I was able to detect and respect the fact that you were respecting yourself and valuing yourself and protecting yourself, as we're talking about, really, because men, we're able to see that. We're able to recognize if a woman is not at the level to where she's not trying to protect herself. Right. And so that was one of the things that I picked up from you. You were not going to be all rushy and try to get all winded down. You were more in tune with my spirit, and at the same time, you were going to make sure that you protected yours.
Yeah, listen.
And I knew that. I sensed that. And that was one of the things that I really fell in love with, because that, to me, was powerful. Because I knew if you was going to respect your heart and protect your spirit, you were going to protect mine as well.
Absolutely. And that is what being reliable is all about. Like, we as Christians making each other better. Yeah. I gotta rely on you being so in tune with God. When I miss God, you catch it. You gotta be so, I have to be so in tune with God that I'm able to discern how the enemy is trying to trip you up. Yeah. I'd rather be able to rely on you spiritually than anything you could do for me financially. Yeah. Because you're going to catch some things in the spirit that can take me back 10, 15 years if we're not careful.
Yeah, you got to put a value on the spiritual things more than the natural things.
Absolutely.
Because the spiritual things is what will get you all hung up. Because those things will manifest eventually in the natural.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I do believe that the trust and the reliability, it causes us to yield to each other.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
if I can't trust you, if I can't rely on you, it's going to be very hard for me to submit. And somebody said it so graciously. Submission is to submit to someone's mission. So if you want me to submit to your mission, it says in the Bible for us to submit one to another, but it's very difficult to submit to someone who's inconsistent, someone who is not walking in the patterns of God, someone that you can't trust, someone that you can't rely on. You want me to follow you, and you're following the world, you're following culture. And so, even pastors have to take a second thought at, wow, if I want my congregation to submit to the word of God, I have to truly preach the word of God. I can't preach according to culture. I have to preach according to Christ.
And that goes back to what? Trust and consistency,
Absolutely.
Reliability. Absolutely. You're going to be consistent with preaching the word. So now the flock comes in and they know what they're going to get. You might not like it. I might tell you something that you don't want to hear, but you can trust that I'm going to be consistent with telling you what you need to hear.
Well, and I'm going to receive it because you're consistent.
Right.
And listen, y'all, I know for a fact, When people meet my mom, I tell them straight up, she is consistent. If you say anything is going on in your life, she is going to consistently pray with you.
Oh, yeah.
If there's something that she picks up that's not right, she is going to tell you.
Right.
Now, and my grandmother is the same way. I think that's just like a generational thing that happens.
That's a good
I
thing.
had to preach in Gainesville one time, and my grandmother is consistent, honey. She is on the list. I put her on the list. And she walks in and tell the people, my granddaughter is preaching, I'm on the list. And they come back to me and it was like, is this Foxy lady your family member? And I'm like, that's my grandmother. And they tease me to this day, say that she looked at them and say, I'm on the list. My name is Gloria. Y'all beautiful or whatever. Consistently gonna check you, right. So you know what to expect.
Yeah.
I knew to say yes ma'am to Grandma Pearlie because she was consistent with her values and her standards.
Yes.
We have to be consistent. Ooh. 1 minute you sleeping with them, the next minute you say, I repented, I was at the altar. Then the next minute you calling them, telling you to come over. Be consistent if you want someone to submit to your standards and your value system. You have to be consistent.
That guy would be all over the place in his mind. And he already has established in his mind, this is not what I'm looking for.
You know that?
Yeah.
I've heard that from guys before.
Yeah.
You know, they say, hey, I'm good with, respecting her boundaries and respecting her standards. But he has in his mind, okay, I know ain't nothing going down.
Right.
So let me not call her after a certain time. And then you send him a naked picture.
Yeah.
But you want him to
killed
respect
it right there.
you.
That killed it right there immediately. Immediately they killed it. Consistency is so important. Oh man. Easy to follow to yield to. That is really good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Man.
You know what? It is so beautiful because nothing in life is perfect. You know, just like you said, we drop the balls here and there. But we don't consistently drop the ball, right? And so because I can trust you and because I can rely on you, you can tell me to do just about anything that's according to God's word that won't put my spirit in jeopardy. And I'm going to just trust the fact that you know what you're talking about because this has been your pattern with me.
Right.
Even with Jaden, my child, because I have... As parents, Jaden has really received good instruction. So I'm able to trust him to go to school without acting a fool. I'm able to rely on him to study, to do his homework. So when he's asking me or he's using his voice, I'm able to even submit to some of the things he want to do because I can trust him and I can rely on him.
So
it's
vital,
important.
so vital, so important. These types of things can be applied in any aspect of your life. You have to be a consistent individual first and foremost. Don't be trying to demand it from others when you're not consistent yourself. You be that strong foundation first and foremost of being consistent. We all have work to do, but then that puts you in a position to now when you're going to expect it, you're going to demand it. Because if you're consistent, if I know how I am, I want those same type of individuals around me as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, listen. One of the attributes of God is his consistency.
Yeah.
We can trust and believe that whenever we come to him, he is always going to be available. Imagine calling out to God and he's like, hold on for a minute, I'm asleep. He says, I am a God that neither slumbers or sleep. Whenever you cry out, Abba, Father, I am here. When you call upon the name of the Lord, you will not be put to shame. Consistency. His character is consistent. His word is consistent. His grace and his mercy is consistent.
Yes. Yeah, when you think about him, man, he is on point on all levels. And because if he was not, he would not, first of all, be God. And how can you put your faith, your trust in someone that is not consistent, that is not there? He is open. His door is always open for us at all times. They definitely comes with certain types of demands, expectations, but at the same time, you know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. And so if you are dealing with people who are inconsistent with their walk with God, I don't care how beautiful you are, ladies. I don't care how fine you are, ladies. At some point, that person is going to be inconsistent with you. If they cannot commit to the one who laid his life down, all right, then they don't have to be perfect. They're not going to be perfect, but they're going to be on the road to perfection because of the greater one who abides in them. And if they refuse to submit to God, I don't care how great they treat you right now. Eventually, you're going to see some inconsistencies.
And when you think about, last thing though, but when you think about reliability and trust, you know, the Father sent the Son down on earth here, right? And right in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he was at that moment to where he in his flesh wanted to give up, he wanted to just find a different way. That was his moment to where God trusted him enough. The Father trusted him enough to carry out the plan. Although he wanted to do what he wanted to do, he said, not my will, but your will. And so he was trustworthy, reliable, and followed God. Submitted unto
to
God.
Pain.
Yeah, to pain,
He
for sure.
submitted to torture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, find you someone with God-like traits. Consistency, being reliable, submitting unto God, so that when you submit unto him, you know that you are submitting to a God mission, not a flesh mission. You know, it's a huge difference. Don't put yourself in the path of hurt, destruction, and all of the evil that the enemy wants to come upon you, because you are so thirsty and so eager to have someone that you choose someone who is going to be inconsistent.
Wow. Yeah. Can't close it out any better than that. Thank you, guys. We're going to end here, but thank you so much. Remember to just go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, and share. But we love you guys. We are here every week to just engage with you all and share some nuggets within ourselves and pass it on to you.
Making each other better with Walt and Sheekia, and that is our YouTube channel. Thanks for viewing.
Thank you, guys. Be blessed. We love you.